And I will be sharing my time with Deputy Connolly as well. And I actually had a nice speech written out here to give tonight and talk about how the having this in the Constitution could be treated and how it would be looked at and how it would be dealt with and everything. But I don't usually sit in here and listen to the speeches of the government side, because usually they're a claptrap, and even tonight they're even worse. And I listened to it, and I've read it here, and it's hard to believe. And I'm sorry that Deputy Staunton has left, because I don't believe that Deputy Staunton would actually believe what he's read out here tonight, because it's amazing. You know, economic and social cultural rights is mentioned here in the contribution from Deputy Staunton, where he talks about the 8th report of the Constitution on the Constitutional Convention was reported in March 2014. And now he talks tonight that they're going to refer this to a committee to look at whether housing rights should be enshrined in the Constitution. That's 5 years later. This is a load of rubbish. I actually have twice moved an economic social rights bill in this House and the last time I think was in 2016, and at every time you've voted it down and you've rejected it. So there's absolutely no way that you are going to consider this in any way as a committee at some stage in the future. And the reason that you're doing that now, moving it to committee and not voting it down, is because there's the local elections on next week, and then there's a general election coming probably in the next year anyway. So that's why you're doing it. So you're going to give this claptrap of how it's going to be going to committee and sort it out. This is a load of rubbish. And then we hear from your partners in government, Fianna Fáil, talk about that they have to consider carefully how these rights and everything. This crisis in housing has been going on for 8 years. For the whole time that I've been a member of this Dáil, this crisis has been going on, and you have been in power for the whole time, and you have done absolutely nothing in relation to it, because ideologically you want to see this crisis continue, because ideologically you're supporting developers. You don't see a right to housing. You see that housing will be provided by the private sector, and that's ultimately where it's going to last. And you're going to say when you're in your contribution later on, Minister, probably that you're talking about that, oh, we're in crisis, we can't deal with this now, we have to deal with the crisis, we've been under the cosh for so many years and we've had to deal with all that there. Actually, in Portugal went through a crisis and a bailout at the same time as us. But Portugal had housing rights and economic and social and cultural rights protected in their constitution. And do you know what happened? The European Commission couldn't attack those rights, and the government couldn't attack those rights of people, because they were enshrined in the Constitution and they were protected constitutionally, so they couldn't attack them when they got there. And Portugal now is one of the leading lights of a left-wing government across Europe, and it's welcoming people in and not trying to stop people coming in. So if this had been enshrined in the Constitution 8 years ago, we could have protected our people. There's a chance now to enshrine it in the Constitution, but if not, you won't do it, and Fianna Fáil won't do it, and that's the way it'll be, and that's fine. But don't do the pretence of saying that you're going to refer this to a committee, and the committee will talk about it and come back to us on it, because you've already voted this down twice in the last couple of years, and you're going to do it again tonight. Thank you.